Since humankind thought it was a great idea to start hitting each other with sticks, we were driven by several key traits like any other animal on this planet. One of which is, and this is the safe for work version, mating. And since those times, we have developed art forms, pictures, movies, even clubs dedicated to the act of mating. Here, YouTube content creator SidSnap put together a video titled That Brought a Man to Jail. And we're going to watch this video. As I was looking for stuff to watch and record and bring to you guys. And so here she is. And here we go.
Adult content has been pretty much the only constant in humanity since we pretty much began. Every civilization ever recorded has some form of it. Be it a lewd sculpture crafted in India in the 1st century BC, or be it very crude drawings drawn on cave walls at the beginning of the Stone Age. Without a doubt, it can be argued that adult content has been injected into our lives since the moment we grew thumbs. And that is especially relevant today. Be it comics, movies, songs. I can type in just a few measly words on my computer and thousands upon thousands of lewd images will just pop up. So you can imagine just how shocking it must be to find out that someone got arrested for creating their own adult content, a hentai manga. You might be even more shocked to hear that it wasn't that long ago. Today, I will be talking about the case of Yuji Suwa versus the Japanese government. Future Sydney here. Throughout the video, I will be saying the Japanese government, but specifically, it is the Supreme Court of Japan, to what part of government I mean. So although I am saying Japanese government, I mean the Supreme Court, who tried everything in their power to change the hentai industry or to create fear for those who didn't adhere to such change. Why did the Japanese government go after this hentai artist Yuji Suwa? What provoked it? After months of just doing non-stop research, paying someone to translate 2 books about the case, as well as paying them to translate court documents, and combing through Japanese forms for hours, I will be able to provide the answers to these questions, as well as talk to you guys about the very alarming case that is about a hentai manga called Misitsu. But before continuing, have you ever wanted to taste Japan no matter where you are in the world? Well, now you can with Tokyo Treats, a monthly Japanese snack subscription box that's delivered right to your front door. Each box has up to 20 limited edition, seasonal, and exclusive snacks that are all only available in Japan for a short time. Each box also has its own theme, and this month's theme is Sakura-tastic. It's springtime now, and I'm ready to eat as such. Each box also has its own booklet that tells about each snack inside the box, as well as any potential allergies. Now, I think I'm ready to try some of these bad boys. I think I'm going to go ahead and try the Sakura shortbread cookie. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute! So pretty! Perfect snack for watching cherry blossoms. So what are you waiting for? Check out all the links in my description in order to check out Tokyo Treats. And give yourself $5 off your first Tokyo Treats box by using code SIDSNAP. Just do it. So once again, please be sure to check out all the links in the description. Thank you again to Tokyo Treats, and now back to the video. You're probably thinking, what the f was that beginning? What the hell was that all about? Now let me explain. I love to go through any random website to find any random manga about any random topic at any point in my life. And sometimes I look at a tag that is not for everybody, and that is the tag controversial. It's how I come across some of the most absurd and unhinged manga that some undoubtedly deserve to be under the controversial tag, but some of them I like to just look at and read and figure out why they are controversial. Was it controversial for its time? Is it more normalized now? So I was super surprised when I was looking through the controversial tag and saw a hentai, as well as another tag attached to that hentai, which was court case. Because I think we can all agree, I didn't know it was possible to get arrested and put on trial for a hentai. And then I read the brief description attached to the hentai, summarizing the court details and how this hentai was the subject of a massive obscenity case. And I got even more confused. Because listen, I am no lawyer, but I do not know how legal it is to to arrest somebody for drawing something. At least I know you can't in America. So I got pretty curious of thinking, is Japan somehow not the same? And if so, what are the cultural differences that dictate this? Because I live here, okay? I live in Tokyo, and Japan just never seemed like the kind of place where something like this could happen. Like, how the hell does this happen? I needed answers, so I went down a rabbit hole, and my curiosity was piqued, and trust me, I got answers and then some, alright, baby. But before going to the details of this case, let's talk about the man of the hour, the hentai creator that started this case, Yuji Suwa. Now, although I do say let's talk about Yuji Suwa, there is not a lot of information on his life. You think a man that went through trial versus the Japanese government, there would be more sources of information on him. There's very little information on him. But what I do know is that Yuji Suwa was born August 12th, 1968, in the Japanese prefecture of Saitama. From there he grew, married a woman, divorced her, married another woman, and then had a child. That is all that is available about his personal life. It's kind of weird how I can tell you what computer and monitor he's currently using, but not much detail regarding how he became an arrow artist. But I can tell you his first work to ever be published was in the year 2000. It was an arrow work called Ie de Musume Chokyo, or The Obedient Runaway Daughter. And this is where we'll start addressing Yuji Suwa by his pen name, Beauty Hair. Now, before I continue on with the details of this hentai manga, this is a trigger warning because it does talk about some dark themes, be it like SA and A. So viewer discretion is advised if you just want to stop here. Ie de Musume Chokyo is a rather long hentai anthology. It depicts a variety of women getting down and dirty with a variety of men, mostly in public. Some of the stories were really strange, to say the least. There was one story where a woman just shoved a banana up her cooch and it just came out all mushy. Just kept falling out of banana pieces falling out of the cooch. A bit unusual for sure, but from reading some of Beauty Hair's previous works, that seems to be what he liked to do. Add a little bit of the unusual to his sex scenes. It could be stories of men being a bit more aggressive, like forcibly pushing or slapping a woman, or it could include everyday objects being used during intercourse, like clamps being clamped down on various places. Just vanilla sex wasn't something Beauty Hair created, and that's not abnormal. Many hentai artists even back then did similar works, or maybe some hentai artists created more depraved twists. So Beauty Hair's works had no issue being published by the Japanese company Shobunkan, or at least not initially. That is because in the year 2002, Beauty Hair released another work, a work called Misitsu. Misitsu, like his previous works, had a variety of hentai scenes as well as plot lines. And it especially wasn't too dissimilar in the fact that it had aggressive male behavior. Now this is where the trouble kind of begins, because not long after Misitsu's release being published in a magazine, a father who was going through his 17-year-old's room found the magazine and flipped through it and was appalled. He was appalled at a variety of the hentai stories in that magazine, but he was most sickened by two stories created by Beauty Hair. One of the stories being called Haizuri Mawate, or Crawling About, and another story called Mutual Love, with Mutual Love being noted by the father as the most disturbing. He sent a scathing letter to the National Diet representative Katsuze Hirasawa, who in turn passed on the father's letter to the Japanese police. After seeing the letter and seeing these works that the Japanese father was talking about, the police believe they have just cause for arrest. On October 1st, 2002, the Japanese police arrived at Shobunkan and arrested Beauty Hair. They also arrested the company president, Motonori Kishi, and the editor-in-chief, Koichi Takada, with charges of distributing obscene material. On this channel, we know of some pretty messed up hentai series, and back then was no different. So what on God's green earth could have been so depraved that you'd get arrested for drawing it? This, upon the millions upon millions of depraved hentai out there, how is this one the one that is the most f***ed up that the police are knocking on your door? Well, this is where it gets a bit confusing. In the two stories cited being Crawling About and Mutual Love, Crawling About is about a girl who is waiting for her date to pick her up, but is abducted and sexually assaulted. She is then also tortured via having cigarettes burned on her and being beat. Without a doubt, no matter your opinions on hentai, it's very dark subject matter. The second work is Mutual Love, and this one was cited the worst out of the two. Mutual Love is about a sex worker who works specifically with men who have sadistic desires. They brutally assault her by whipping her with a whip in her face, by taking a belt and just whipping her again anywhere on her body, as well as vaginal stomping. Very graphic and hard to imagine, but at the end of this manga, the final panel says, that she really loves the pain that it gives her. She's a masochist. These stories sound incredibly shocking and without a doubt very sordid, but admittedly, is it the darkest hentai, most f***ed up hentai to exist out there? By no means. No, isn't. It's not. But the father who wrote the letter to the National Diet member argued that the violence in this hentai would negatively impact the Japanese youth, and the police agreed. However, not for the reasons that the father was arguing, but because this hentai wasn't properly censored. Even upon getting arrested, President Kishi was stunned that his company was the one under fire for publishing Misitsu, when, in his words, other publishers have issued unexpurgated sexual comics, meaning other Japanese companies have released uncensored, more extreme hentai than this. And it's true. Just a quick search made it easy to find uncensored and incredibly graphic hentai dating back from as early as 1990. And Misitsu at least had some censoring, albeit pretty small, but at least there was some. So why are they getting arrested when other publishers have done the same, if not worse than them? And well, there wasn't exactly a very clear defined answer, no matter how much Kishi and Beauty Hair argued, but there are some pretty good guesses. Guesses like the Japanese government wanted to crack down on hentai censorship, but didn't really know where to begin or how to go about it. That was until the police got that letter. And just like that, a graphic hentai series was handed to them. There were thousands upon millions of uncensored, graphic, deplorable hentai out there, but what are they gonna go after every single hentai that was released? So why have thousands of trials when you can use Beauty Hair as an example? The government really wanted to protect the people from what they viewed as obscene material, but they were still quite vague about what obscene material was, and the vagueness created quite a bit of fear into Japanese bookstores and publishers. So much so that adult-only sections were completely removed from bookstores. They were scared that they were going to be arrested for distribution as well. After the arrest, the three of them were locked up for weeks, unable to see or talk to anybody besides their lawyers. The author of the books regarding the case mentions how depressed Yuji must have been. Because in Japan, when you are arrested, you are automatically detained in a cell with other cellmates for at least 10 days. The food in the prison must have been terrible. Yuji must have been constantly afraid, scared of the other cellmates that he had to share with, because he didn't know if somehow the cellmates knew about him and what he was on trial for, or if they even cared, and if they did care, what they would do to him. He couldn't talk to his children or his wife. Every day must have been incredibly bleak. And all the while, he still could not wrap his head around as to why he was there. He was stuck in a jail all because he drew hentai. The author of the books also states that in the court, Yuji was seen trembling and incredibly fearful, especially when he, as well as the others, appealed to be released but were rejected. After about 2 weeks, Beauty Hair, as well as the editor-in-chief, threw the court an offer. We will plead guilty to this, but we want to get out of jail and do not want to serve jail time. We will pay a fine. To which the court accepted. Courts fined them 500,000 yen, which is about $3,500. But Kishi, the company president, wasn't backing down, okay? I mean, after all, he is the president of a company that sells a variety of hentai works. And he believed he had done nothing illegal. He fought tooth and nail for years. He got variety of lawyers. He really just put himself out there trying to appeal to the public and the government that making these hentais isn't illegal, censorship and otherwise, it's not illegal. However, after 2 years, Kishi was decided to be ultimately guilty. He was initially charged with jail time, but they lowered it to 1.5 million yen in fines, which is about $15,000. And he got pretty lucky with that, considering the judge was the one who issued it being a fine instead, because he felt, given the circumstances of this case, jail time was pretty harsh to give to somebody for it, since in the end, they are just drawings. After sentencing, all three of them kept to themselves for years. It was noted after the trial that although Yuji did plead guilty, he still believes that what he did wasn't illegal. During questionings, he reiterated that he did not feel his work was obscene enough to be penalized. He continued on to say that since the development of modern media and the internet from the 90s onwards, there has been many changes in people's works and what is defined now as obscene. Before, people could go abroad to see media that is banned banned in Japan, but in this day and age, it's all only a click away. After paying the fine, Tsuji was eager to continue his work. However, nobody really wanted to hire him. His wife in an online diary states that they knew he would probably get less offers for illustration work, but they truly didn't believe it would be so little. Yuji Suwa even changed his name to Fujihara Hisashi, hoping that it would make a difference, but alas, still nothing changed. His wife continued on to say, her husband went through an incredibly difficult time due to the case hanging over his head, but he kept trying. His wife begged him to maybe switch careers, start anew with something else, but he replied back saying, my main career will always be drawing. If that bothers you, you can change your last name and go back to your maiden name. Apparently, he was always a very reserved and quiet man, so him saying this to her really shocked her, but she understood and continued to support him afterwards. And luckily, it seems as time went by, his career picked back up. He was able to get a variety of offers and still to this day releases work. He even got some pretty major work, like drawing some art for the Digimon cards in the Digimon card game. He definitely nowadays seems to have stepped back from drawing anything lewd anymore and is more into drawing monsters and fan art. He seems to be thriving nowadays and is very much an accomplished artist, which I think we can all agree on is kind of a relief after all that's happened. This is clearly his passion and what he wants to do, and I am beyond happy that he's able to do it. I wish I was able to learn more details about him and his life and his mindset after everything. And I reached out to ask if he would be able to answer some questions, but there was no reply back, which fair enough. It would have been nice to know, but also I'm not entitled to know it. I'm just beyond happy to see that he still has the passion to draw even after such a harrowing case. And altogether, I am still pretty unsure how to feel about everything. But I can say, as someone living in Japan, it's scary. It's scary how, to me, even after reading through thousands of pages, going through thousands of forums, seeing thousands of quotes and comments, everything, or I should say a lot of things about this case are so vague because everybody in Japan still doesn't know to what extent you need to do something in order to get arrested. Now, obviously this doesn't apply to like stealing or murder. This is like a whole topic entirely, such as one law like the anti-slander law, where you can write a bad review of a restaurant and get arrested for it for defamation. And I feel that a law that states that it is illegal to distribute obscene material, it shouldn't have any room to be vague. Even after the trial, even after people saying their opinions or the arguments made, it just doesn't make sense. Considering a lot of Japanese history's art is obscene in itself. So what, is that not allowed to be shown in museums? Is that not allowed to be studied because it depicts sex? Is it the violence? Is it the censorship? What is it? Because if that's the case, then why is everything still to this day getting released with all these things? Even right behind me in my bookshelf, I can pull out to you some of the most depraved, disgusting shit. And how I found it was because I was just walking down a street and saw it in a bookstore. If the government was trying to set an example for hentai creators, it didn't work. Fickle laws such as this bring nothing but wariness to creators and just bring fear and confusion to the public. And maybe that was what they were going for. But at the end of the day, didn't really change anything. But maybe that was what they were going for. Maybe they wanted us to feel that way. But in the end, honestly, who can say except them? I don't know. I can assure you, Beauty Hair and President Kishi, as well as the editor-in-chief, they don't know. And to this day, nobody knows. There was a massive, men were put in jail, and nobody really knows why. And even to this day, the government still goes after creators for releasing obscene materials, which is a whole other video in itself. Either way, I don't really know what the line is, and I would love to, if somebody knows the line, please tell me, because after all this research, after all this time, after looking nonstop for an answer, I don't know. I don't know. But alas. With that being said, thank you to everybody who watched this video. This is the first time I've ever done a full scripted research. I've never spent so much time and research into making a video, so much money, so much manpower. I'd like to say thank you to Geeks Plus as well as Kai for being able to be hired to translate the court documents as well as the books regarding the case, as well as thank you to them for answering any questions I may have had and doing the research for me to find the answers. I am nothing but apologetic for everything that Beauty Hair, President Kishi, and the editor-in-chief have went through, but it seems that in time, they are living their best lives and are living very prosperous, wholesome days and lives again. I dream of nothing but happiness coming their way, and yeah. Thank you guys for watching this video again. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're thinking about supporting this channel, then please type in patreon.com/sitsnap. Thank you guys again, and ta-da! Bye!
Wow. So the anti-slander law, I kinda get. Because when you think about it, it mainly targets people that may act in bad faith against a business. But this? Oh, yo. Okay. That's going to do it for this one.